What are the best gadgets inside of Moco? Today, I'm taking a look at all of them and ranking them on a tier list so you can know which ones you should be focusing on and which ones you may want to ignore. Let's start off with Splash Heal. This one's quite nice if you're looking to be a healing build inside of the game, healing both yourself and players around you. This one right here is going to have a 16-second cooldown, so you can not exactly spam it, but you can use it quite often. At the end of the day, this is a decent gadget, but not one that I get extremely excited for. Unless if you're being a healer, I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a B tier. Coming in at number 2 is Smart Fireworks, one of my favorite gadgets inside of the game. Here, you're gonna be throwing out 5 enemy-seeking fireworks. They're basically missiles that go after the enemies and explode on them. With a 20-second cooldown, this one is usable in my opinion, and in actuality, it's in all of my favorite builds inside of the game. A damage dealer that does it at range, that you don't need to aim. I absolutely love it. We're looking at an S tier gadget right here. The third gadget is Boombox, and this is one that you get very early on in the game. Actually, you do fireworks as well. Boombox is really solid. It's gonna do damage completely around you, in a circle around you. We call that 360 degrees, and it's gonna do stunning to anything that is not a boss. So you're gonna get a little bit of time to escape if you need to. Cooldown is 12 seconds. This is a great one if you're using a melee class where you have a lot of things around you, and actually if you're playing with a ranged class as well, you need to kind of get out of jail if you get snuck up on. Boombox can get you out of that trouble. I actually quite like this one. I'm gonna give it an A tier. Vitamin Shot is up next, and this is not only going to increase your attack speed, but it's also going to heal you as well. So you're gonna be doing more damage and healing at the same time. It's also only on a 10-second cooldown, which is actually incredible. I absolutely love Vitamin Shot. For me, this is gonna be another S tier gadget that I use almost all the time, and honestly, I believe that you probably should too. Monster Taser is another really good damage dealer to single targets. This does a lot of damage to bosses or single enemies, and it will also stun enemies that aren't bosses. This is on only a 5-second cooldown, so you could really spam the heck out of Monster Taser and do a lot of additional damage. I like this one a lot, and I'll use it in many builds, but not all. Monster Taser for me is an A tier gadget. Now, Pepper Spray, on the other hand, is a very big area of effect damage gadget that I also really do like. You're gonna be spraying an area with pepper spray, which is going to also slow and damage over time enemies that aren't bosses. It won't slow the bosses, but it'll still damage them as well. This is something that when you're going into big groups of enemies and you need to take down a number of them at one time, it's going to be your go-to because it has that area of effect damage. It also has a 14-second cooldown, which is moderate. Pepper Spray is another one that I have in many of my builds, and I'm gonna give it an A tier. Snow Globe is one of my favorite gadgets inside of the game, but it doesn't come without a problem. I'm gonna solve that problem for you right here as well. This one here is going to do a massive area damage and slowing to everything that's not a boss inside of the game. Obviously, bosses will still take the damage. The problem with Snow Globe is its cooldown that sits at 30 seconds. How can we get around this issue? We get around the issue by using the portable portal, and you make sure that Snow Globe is in the right position so that you can then utilize Snow Globe every single time you come to the portable portal's ultimate. It's super. Every time it charges up that bar, it's gonna throw Snow Globe, and you're gonna be able to spam it a lot more frequently. That is the best time, and really one of the only ways to use Snow Globe all the time inside of the game. It definitely has its niche areas. With that said, even with a 30-second cooldown, I think we're still looking at an A tier gadget right here. It's one of the best in the game, which is why it has such a long cooldown. Life Jacket is a defensive gadget. It's gonna essentially protect yourself and your pets with a shield, and then it's gonna explode when it's destroyed or when it expires. Nothing too crazy, nothing too exciting, and because of this, I have to give it a C tier for right now. Now it's on a 15-second cooldown, and it is something that you could probably use if you're trying to put together a really big tanky build. That's when you would use this one. But other than that, I'd probably keep this one on the sideline. Multiszapper is up next, and this one is kind of unique. Here, it's going to drop lightning around an area, 12 lightning bolts, which can all hit individual enemies, or if there's only one big boss enemy around, all 12 of those lightning bolts will strike that one enemy. So this is kind of an area of effect damage or a single target, depending on how you use it. I like that versatility. I don't love the 18-second cooldown on this one. In my opinion, this one is good to have in your back pocket when you're going into an area where you're not sure what you're going to encounter. You may have a ton of enemies, or you may have a big boss. So this is kind of a more versatile one. With that said, I'm gonna give it a B tier rating. Spicy Dagger, this is a single target gadget that is really unique and that I like quite a bit. Let's read this one. Used to dash towards the closest enemy, dealing damage and making them take 25% more damage from your weapon, gadgets, passives, and pets temporarily. Non-boss monsters are slowed. This is really good if you're fighting big enemies or inside of PvP. Just think about it. You go and you add mobility because you're able to dash, which is giving you an additional dash to your normal dash. And then once you do strike an enemy with your Spicy Dagger, anything else that you do is dropping 25% more damage. So you can get in close, strike them, make them more vulnerable, and then take them down. This is a really great one, specifically for PvP. And it's decent for PvE. So this one is actually gonna get 2 scores. For PvP, I think we're looking at an S tier gadget. For PvE, it's probably more around a B tier gadget. But overall, if we're focused on PvP, we're looking at S tier, and that's really where you probably want to use this one. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Spicy Dagger's only on a 10-second cooldown, so it's actually fairly usable. 5-second cooldown would be too short, because then you could just chain take down enemies in PvP. I think 10 seconds is pretty good for this one. Explosive 6-pack is gonna give you a lot more mobility, and it's gonna drop damage. Essentially what you can do is jump over your enemies and shoot rockets at them as you do the jump. It's a very versatile one. It adds mobility as well, maybe decent for PvP, definitely good for PvE. It's on a 10-second cooldown, and overall, this is generally a fun one to use. It's probably not the most effective to use unless if you're trying to escape. This one's also in between for me, but I'm gonna have to go and give it a C tier just because I know how often I use it and which other ones I prioritize over it. With that said, it is quite fun to use, and if you need more mobility, this is one that you definitely want to look at. Next up is the super loud whistle. It basically taunts enemies so they come attack you, and you'll heal yourself over time as well. You would use this if you're playing as a tank build and you're trying to prevent your teammates from taking damage. Or if you're trying to protect the van and you want the enemies to not attack the van, but to instead attack you. This is extremely niche, and it's one that I don't think is going to be used really by anyone right now. This would be C tier at best, but more likely I'm thinking this is a D tier gadget just because of how niche it is, and it's on a 12-second cooldown. I'm not a fan of this one. Revitalizing Mist is up next, and this one is another healing gadget, which is going to heal you or a friendly target, whoever's within range. This has an 8-second cooldown. It goes right along here with the splash heal. If you're building out a heal build, I could see someone utilizing all the healing out elements, the gadgets and the passives and even the weapon, and going all in healer with butterfly wings. But besides that, I don't love Revitalizing Mist. I'd probably go ahead and give it a C tier. I want to take a second to remind all of you to please put code ECHO inside of Moco in the shop. It directly supports my channel right here and keeps me bringing you these amazing videos focused on Moco. My code also works in all Supercell games because I am a Supercell creator. Thank you guys so much. So what do you guys think? Do you agree or disagree with my ratings? Of course, these are my opinions and yours. very much may differ. I do have to say, most of the gadgets have a use inside of the game and have a position where you may utilize them in some of your builds. Don't just completely say no to any of them, because we can get creative and put together some really amazing builds inside of Moco. Remember guys, I'll be streaming today at 12 p.m. Eastern, as I do every day Monday through Friday. I hope to see you guys there live.